Hello, everyone. Thanks, Marvelous, for the introduction. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. It's really great to be able to share my experience with everyone and, help people to, access global opportunities. I want to say special appreciation to everyone within my network as well that has joined. Thank you so much for, you know, joining this call. It means a lot to me. So I'll just go into my presentation. I have a presentation. Yep, second. Okay, so today we'll be discussing or majorly learning about how to unlock global opportunities. Um, and yeah, I want to start with a theme, with a quote by Tony Elumelu. It says that you need to realize that a dream is one thing. To get it done is more important, which is execution. When you have done the reality check, repurpose your goal. Afterwards, translate this dream or purpose into action because it is that translation that defines success. So I'm always very, of recent, especially this year, like I've come to realize the importance of execution in everything that we do. I feel like many people are so fixated on having dreams. A few people then translate their dreams into goals. Then less people now, like a less number of people now translate that into a plan, and very few people eventually execute that plan. So in all that we learned today and all that we're able to share with each other today, I just hope that we hold on to the key, which is execution. Yes, because that is very important. It's not enough to have your dreams, it's not enough to have your goals, not enough to have a plan. You need to execute it, you need to stick with those plans, and because that would eventually lead to your success. So I'm going to be sharing on three major points. I'm going to share my story, how I started in the university. I was an undergraduate as well. And I'm going to talk about the world of finance, how I found it, the most important things, right? I've been in finance for I can say a little over 2 years now. But the journey didn't start in those 2 years, it started way back. And then I'm also going to share the major steps on how you can access global opportunities. So if you have any question, I would please just type your questions in the chat box and then we can go to it. And I also want to say that every question is important. Every question is valuable. And one thing I'm always key on is visibility. There are a number of people on the call already. Whenever you ask a question, whenever you raise your hand, maybe in your workplace or in your school to take on projects or to take on or to ask questions, then you're getting visibility. People begin to notice you. So try as much as possible to ask questions, try as much as possible to speak. That's very helpful anywhere. So my story, I'll talk about my university experiences, how I turned lemons into lemonades, and then about skill development, building visibility through networks and events. And also in the world of finance, I was a newbie, I was swimming in a new industry. I studied cultural economics, and people were like, "Oh, how did you switch to finance?" First, I feel like this is actually a testimony because I remember years back, I used to ask that same question: how did this person who studied engineering switch to finance? How is it possible? Can I also do it? And then I was I saw people's experiences, I saw that they could do it, and then eventually I became that person. So also I was in a new city in a different country. How did I adapt to that? Adapting to the culture was key for me. I also turned more lemonades into bittersweet sorry, more lemons into bittersweet lemonades. And networking always it remained vital. The global opportunities. So this is really for this is like a step ahead, talking about defining your goals and assessing your current situations, developing plans, networking, and being visible. So here's my story. Um, a very wonderful lady. by the left, as you can see, one of my favorite pictures ever that showed that I graduated from the University of Ilorin. Was a bit of some struggle, spent about 6 years in the university. I studied a course I never wanted to study, which was agricultural economics. I wanted to study medicine, but eventually got a Greek on my second and the third trial of writing JAM and post-TME. The first time I didn't get admission, and then I didn't stay home anyway, but that is outside of the university experience. So the success from all of my university journey was, I mean, first, the one major thing I would say first is meeting people, association was very, very much important for me, and I feel like that was a major success for me in the university. I struggled a bit with it, and sometimes when I look back, I'm just like, I wish I actually met more people. I wish I was friendly. I wish I attended much more events, and I was able to grow my network beyond what it is now. So that's one. But the people that I currently have, I see having them as a great success. Yeah. And then secondly, graduated with a first class degree. I interned in a global investment bank, currently working there now. Um, and then I mean, thanks to God for that. And then I was the president, vice president of the Finance Society. So some people might be like, okay, that I see that as a milestone because I was studying agriculture and then eventually became like the vice president of the Investment Society in the university and then became the president. So I see that as a plus. And then also appeared on TV via an internship. It was an internship with AFEX. I got the opportunity to go on it arise no I think on channels really, so went on there, was able to share commodity updates, commodity market updates, a number of times, and that was eye-opening. It was more like presenting to everybody as an intern. That was a challenge, at the same time was very helpful and encouraging for me. But how they say, for example, that there's an iceberg in the sea and then you can only see 1/10 of the iceberg. There were a whole lot of things that I had to do to get this kind of opportunities or this kind of success, I mean. So making lemonades through rejections. So first of, like I said before, was I applied for medicine, but I did not get medicine. Instead of staying on the second time, like for the second year, I decided to go for agriculture because I was given agriculture and then tried to write again in my first year. And I was also given agriculture again. So I held on to that. And then this is just an encouragement to many people. Like you feel that oh, this is not the course you wanted to study. Like I had some like back then in school, some people wanted to study medicine, but they gave them dermatology. That people used to say, oh, sorry, human kinetics. So that's and then I'm sure many people would have felt devastated by it. But then I'm just telling you right now that the course you studied in school does not define who you are. So second is I utilized opportunities I had, like this agricultural opportunities. I studied agricultural science. Yeah, I utilized the opportunity. I gave my best to it. And then also like I try to look for societies as well. Those skill development societies and events were very important. I was always here. If you hear about Alt Prize, Grace was there. If you hear about ISEC, Grace was there. Investment Society, Grace was there. Eventually set to Investment Society. I felt like, okay, I think finance is something I want to do. I feel like this offers a lot of opportunity. This society offers like a lot of opportunities for me. And then I just stuck with Investment Society. Yeah, so that I was also with Millennium Campus Fellowship as well. I did that. I did Young Professional YPB boot camp. I did that as well. I was I attended events in Lagos. Sometimes I went the extra mile. I traveled from Ilorin to Lagos. Yeah, I took risk basically. Yeah, so I tried from Ilorin to Abuja, those kind of things, just because I wanted the exposure. And to be honest, I can say looking back now, there's one other person that I know who did very much the same thing, very much the same thing. You know, I mean, I just remembered him now, and then the person just became a manager in one of the network firms. because that person was also very daring in everything that he was doing, very daring, very, was giving his best to this learning, learning platforms, the events. He was also pushing out for all of these things. And then I'm not surprised to see where he has gotten to. So I joined skill development societies and events, and I also worked out for my grades. There had to be a balance. One thing I did, which was very helpful, is the first few weeks of the semester, things were not usually very intense. So I'm always like, trying to develop myself, giving my best to societies and events. And then towards the end of the semester, or like from the semester, I was studying really hard. So I didn't give up studying my books earlier in the semester. I was studying a bit by bit by bit, but then eventually from mid to the end, towards the exam time, I just dumped societies mostly, and then I focused on my book. And I also believe abilities through me. Like I held, like I believe so much in God, and so I focused on, doing what is right according to God's will for me. So I'm moving on to the world of finance. Like I said, like I was a newbie, new to a country, new to a society, new to a city. There were a whole lot of things that I had to learn. First of all, is culture, right? So there's a particular culture when you're in school, right? Which is like, okay, you study, there are certain ways you speak with your friends. There's certain Nigerian way that we speak, there are certain slangs that we understand. But that does not translate actually to another society. So for some certain places, like maybe financial hubs like London or New York, you see that it's quite diverse. There are so many people that one would work with, right? So I learned that culture was very important. One has to be adaptable, right? Being adaptable and being flexible. And I'll give an example. For many people who are maybe like, let's just say for example, like if you study University of Ilorin or you're studying a Nigerian university, you will see that excuse me, you will see that maybe if you maybe the way you interact with your classmates are different from the way you interact with people in your, maybe like in your campus fellowship, um or maybe like in your mosque. So things like that, there has to be some form of flexibility, and that has been so helpful in, reaching out to people and developing my network. So I just had to understand that I had to be adaptable. I had to learn the movies that these people, that the people watch. What things do they find really wonderful? People, they love sports. Olympics was like very big for them. So I had to, watch the Olympics. I had to, follow it. Okay, then be able to talk about it, because those are the things that interest people. Before now, I used to be very keen on purpose conversations, but now I understand that in order to build my network, the cheat charts are also very important. So I can talk to people about movies, I can talk to people about sports, I can talk to people about the books that I read. Oh, I read this book, were very amazing. This movie, very amazing. I ate this food, was super good. So those kind of things are actually important. And I feel like those are the things that actually, they build relationships between people, even between friends, really. So adaptability is key, flexibility is vital. Then understanding teams and personalities, very good. You are from a different place, you know how you think, but then other people do not actually have your experience. They're not shaped by the things that have shaped you. So you need to understand, okay, who's this person? This person is choleric. Okay, this person is not a choleric. This person is introverted. This person is extremely extroverted. How do I work with this kind of people? Am I supposed to, just speak at certain times or just be quiet at other times? You need to be able to define those things. So that culture is very, very important. Also in the world of finance is networking. And in fact, this goes beyond the world of finance. It can be seen in every of your career journey. Networking is very important. And and this boils down to communication, right? So when you're communicating with people, I've noticed of a recent that the tone of your conversation, of your voice, is very important. So if you feel, especially like, if you're a leader and then you raise your voice at maybe the people that you work with, there's going to be tension in that environment. But then if you're able to be like, if you're able to speak with people with a very calm voice, but at the same time stand your ground, that makes a whole lot of difference. you know um so for example, if maybe someone has done wrong and then you talk to them in such a way that you're, look, hi, Grace, you've not done this thing right. I know you're headed somewhere, but then we need to fix this. I trust in your abilities to get this done. And then we need to fix this now until or so that it doesn't become an issue for you in the future. So that kind of conversation is great instead of, oh, Grace, you've not done this right. Why haven't you done this right? I expected more from you. So you see, these are like two different scenarios, right? So communication is very important. I know that many of us are actually students and then we'll go into the workplace very, very soon. Or some of us are already in the workplace, or some of us are even leaders. We already own firms, right? We already own firms, we already have employed people. Some of us are the employees in this, in this firm. Some of us are partners in these firms. So your tone of conversation is very important, right? And you need to like learn how to communicate with people. So accountability, take responsibility for what is yours is very important. If you've made a mistake, own up to it. If you've done something right, speak about it. Those things are very important. Visibility as well is very key. When you're working with people, try to be visible. There's no need. I'm not sure. I, I stand to be corrected, but I kind of feel that you know, being introverted will not really like being introverted and staying in your shells will not really help you actually in corporates. I'll say like in corporates, it could also be like as an entrepreneur. It's okay to be an introvert, but then at the same time you need to be very intentional about building visibility for yourself, because those are, people that know you will recommend you. So things like that. So that's very important. And it's also important to be likable, right? This is a lot. Be likable means you're able to interact with people at different levels. Very, very important. So another thing again I learned as well is skill development. I've always been very keen on skill development. Always try to develop your skills, volunteer to take up projects. Some people are like, they pay me 9 to 5, that's enough. Well, that is enough. But then, like, can you go the extra mile a bit? Can you come earlier? Can you leave later? Because I know they pay you 9 to 5, but then, Hmm. In this world, I feel like sometimes you need to really go extra mile, right? You need to go extra mile. So you need to take up projects, raise your hand. If you feel like this project is really massive, or this project is something that you can learn from, it's okay to raise your hand. If they say no, we don't think you don't have the skills to do it. Okay, can I tag along? Can I be an ad hoc on this project? Can I, so I learn from it and those things. So people trust me, people see, especially like your managers or like people that you work with, your partners, they see that, they are onto something good, they are onto something amazing, and then they begin to notice you. So show willingness. Like I said, when they give you a project, don't squeeze your face and say, no, I can't do this project. It would not help. And then voice your skill development journey. Like I always tell my manager, oh, I've done this, I've done that, and people begin to see you in a different light when you do that, because they feel like they're a part of your journey. This that I'm sharing with you is very important, because people then begin to feel that, okay, I'm a part of this lady's journey. She's sharing this with me and all of that. So it's very important. Share your journey with people. I know that for us, especially in Nigeria, like we're very, very conservative about our progress and what we are doing, right? But then, so the people that you trust and the people that you understand, you can vouch that they mean well for you, it's really good for you to share your development journey with them. And also have a growth mindset. Be flexible. Be flexible. Some people are like, this engineering, I must always do engineering. That's fine. We are determined about it. But then you feel like, okay, this is not working perfectly. Can I switch to another area, another career area that is, that has like a lot of attention? There are some areas right now that if you listen to the news, people are very key on it. Things like sustainability. Okay, there's a lot of emphasis on ESG. Okay, so things like that. There's a lot of emphasis on tech. How can I combine tech and sustainability? There's a lot of emphasis on, like some of the what's it called, NGOs that I've been seeing of a recent. There's a lot of focus on water, getting clean water to people in certain parts of Africa. So is there a way I can develop skills? Can I be problem solving in situations like this? I want to do something like like an initiative. For example, when I did the Millennium Fellowship, I was focused on what's it called, sponsoring children to school, and which is still ongoing. right? I might not sponsor like a million children, not yet, but then like the very few that are currently being sponsored are still in school, and they've been in school for, I think, like maybe 5 years now, or 4 years, if I'm not exaggerating. So like that. So what impacts can I make in those instances? There a way I can, there are some opportunities. This is an example of an opportunity where they say, okay, we want someone to write an essay that would, provide solution to this. So these organizations are actually looking for an idea. So how can you implement that idea? So it's okay for you to actually write, okay, maybe the World Bank is, World Bank essay competitions. You can go online, World Bank essay competitions, essay competitions on what's it called, clean water, on purifying the ocean. There are competitions like that, that are very, very helpful, and you can just put in for that and then start making a mark from there on. Another thing again, which I've learned from the world of finance, is the importance of being valuable. So add value at all times. So if there's a particular project they're giving to you, then act like, even if it's a 5 minutes task, just ensure that it is close to perfect. I don't want to say perfect, so you don't waste too much time on it and all of that. There's a whole lot of like idea on what perfect should be. But then in an industry like finance, you want to be perfect, to be honest. Like, you want to do things excellently. You want to be sure that there are no mistakes, right? And this comes with practice. At the same time, it comes with putting processes in place. So for example, if you made a mistake on a certain project as an entrepreneur, or you see that your team has like keeps making mistakes on certain things, okay, is it that the way you're communicating it to them is not the perfect way, or is it that they just, what you see in your head, you can exactly translate it through your words to them? So how do I put this down? Write it down and explain to them, and then people now have like a guide to always read through. So trust me, that guide is very important. So now they can always go to the guide and say, okay, this is as this particular project met this guide, or met the first part of this guide, yes, check. As this particular project met the second guide, yes, check. So that serves as like a guide. Okay, I can do this project, everything. Once I check out everything, then this is a perfect project, and we should actually meet your expectation as the leader, or as a partner, or as, yeah, basically, as the head of your organization. So it's also important to every project like gold is balanced timing and excellence. So one thing I noticed here as well is that everything moves on fast. Everything moves on fast. Like, they need you to do things fast. Is, keep going. If they say one thing, I've just told, anytime I hear this is not urgent, trust me. If they say it's not urgent, that means you have to do it that day. Whenever they say it's not urgent, it means don't do it maybe within an hour, but urgent, you have to do it that day. So things like that. So you have to balance timing, and you also have to balance excellence. So, because these things will help you develop a reputation, and it's very important. You want people to be able to say, oh, I know this person, right? Like, I can say, oh, hacking, oh, I know hacking for some years now, and I can say boldly that, he has an entrepreneurship, like entrepreneurial spirit, right? He's always trying to do things, always developing things. He's always doing, always starting this business, always trying to impact people. Like, I already know, because he has already developed that reputation over time. So you want people to be able to say this about you. What's this that they've seen about you, right? So that's very, very important. Then define expectations from the onset. So maybe you're a leader somewhere, or you're an entrepreneur to your team, or even as a career person. Some people are on here like, oh, I want to be a career person, or some people are on here saying, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a leader in this organization, things like that. You have to define expectation from onset, and I'm going to give you an example. So for example, this person A, let's say her name is Joyce. So Joyce goes to our manager, or Joyce, as the leader of our firm, goes to our employees and say, okay, I need you to get, this, to restructure this ball and make it a globe, right? Now, another person might have the thought of, okay, I do not understand how to make a ball a globe, because a ball has some kind of foam, right? It's like a foot, like maybe like all this plain football, right? So it has some kind of foam. A globe, I've never associated a globe with a foam. So you understand? So things like that. But if you're able to define the expectations from onset, okay, are you happy to have to have some form in the globe? Are you happy for me to, for me to what's it called? I don't want to use the word destroy the ball and then recreate a globe. Are you happy for me to paint the ball black and then like paint the map of the world on the ball to make it a globe? So those kind of questions, they're helping you to define the expectations, what is expected, and trust me, that is going to save you a lot of time. That's going to save people a lot of issues. So these are very vital points. I hope that I know that as undergraduate, I might not really what's it called see the implementation of this, maybe, but then it's very important for you to hold on to it at this point because trust me, you will need it in the future. So I'm just going to pause on this moment and then just going to ask if there are any questions so far. Okay. So in the absence of questions, I would move on and I would say that um and so yeah, so I now I move on to global opportunities, right? So many people are like, Grace, how do you assess global opportunities and all? First of all, I'll say you have to be grounded in your skill, right? This is what S stands for, skill. Be grounded in your skill, be grounded in your knowledge. Hmm. This is very important. So I took an exam of recent. That was the toughest exam I've ever written in my life. I read like I've never read before. And then I just realized whatever it is that I thought hard work to be when I was in university, this is actually times 10 of what it is. So when I see people online and when they share their stories, I got into Microsoft. I got into, like I saw of recent, a woman who got into PhD, like neuroscience for PhD. I was like, this is amazing. And definitely she must have put in the work. These are people that are not sleeping all night. These are people that are reading all night. These are people that maybe are sleeping 2 hours, 3 hours every day, 4 hours every day. Now, they are building, they are gaining ground in that skill. They are gaining ground in that knowledge. It will surprise you what people do to get to these top levels. So for investment banking, I know that many people, when they get an investment bank, they feel like the only thing they do is investment banking. Some people work 8 hours of 24 hours in a day. And imagine working that long. Some people like 14 hours, it depends. They are like, oh, you know what, Grace, if you work from 9 to 11, that is a great day. That is a good day. But then normally it should be like you close by 1, you can go home and go and look. That's 1 a.m. and then go home and go and log in again, and maybe you finish by 4 a.m. and then you have to be at work by 9 a.m. So if you begin to, like, I've seen this pattern, like I've seen how the effort that people put into becoming excellent, into, getting these great results. And I'm just like, the what I thought hard work to be in university is actually times 10. This is a different ball game, right? So I just want to tell you now that you need to be grounded in your skill. Stop giving yourself excuses. I'm studying finance in school. I'm studying agriculture in school. I'm studying what I don't want to study, theater arts in school. Define what it is that you want. Once you have defined what you want, then begin to build your skill on that. So you have maybe you have 9 to 5, what's it called, you go to school 9 to 5. When you're back, do you have like 2 hours to actually study, the tech skill? Do you have like 2 hours to learn programming? Do you have 2 hours to write an essay? If you want to write a book, do you have like 2 hours to write a book? Are you developing yourself every day? Please let development be a part of your everyday journey, every single day. Even if it's a book, if it's a course, let development be a part of it. So be grounded in your skill, keep learning, learn the vitals of business. As an entrepreneur, you say, okay, I want to start this business. Okay, what is cash flow? I don't know. No, you need to learn them. So what's cash flow to your business? You don't know. No, you shouldn't have that kind of mindset. So like as an entrepreneur, when you start your business, okay, I need to understand, or before you start your business, what's the importance of cash flow? What is cash flow? Money always coming in or money always going out. What the money that comes in, that goes out of my business. So when money stops coming in and money is going out, what happens to my business? There's a high possibility that it's going to fold up. So what is equity? what does equity mean to my business? How do business cycles? So business cycles like, oh, there's, for example, there's something, maybe like there's a boom, like there's a lot of money in the economy, so people make money. And then there are other times there's like a contraction, so everything goes down. So people are like, they're not making as much money. But as then you begin to ask yourself, how do companies that do not make as much money as they were making during the boom, how do they remain resilient in situations like this? So you begin to ask yourself those questions. And honestly, that's the development and that's the grounding that you actually really need. Always learning, never stop learning, always learning, make learning your everyday journey, pushing as hard as you can. I learned something from Young Professionals Bootcamp, and I learned this from someone. He works in the HR. And then he said this, he said, this is what he defines as hard work. It says, if you work, if Mr. A and Mr. B work 9 to 5, and Mr. A goes home, and Mr. B stays from 5 to 10 and does maybe his work, like office work, maybe, or he does another, maybe like a professional development course. He said that 5 to 10 is actually hard work. So it's like putting the extra effort into, into gaining grounds, into building grounds, into developing that knowledge, right? So those things are very important. Networking is key. You can use social media, LinkedIn, create a LinkedIn account, post valuable things, right? Post valuable things. You can talk about your journey on your social media network. Be very intentional. See, I've learned that branding is important in everything that you do. Um, so for some people, they're like, okay, I can just post anything on my social media accounts, but that shouldn't be, because there are people that are actually watching. There are people that are looking. Some people might not just even be like, watching intentionally. Some people, it just comes to them as a subconscious, let me just say subconscious efforts. So they see this person, oh, Grace, oh, who is this Grace? One day they will ask, right? One day they'll reach out. One day they'll be fine to reach out and say, okay, oh, hi, how are you? And all of that. So things like that are very important. So, keep posting, ensuring that you're posting the right things. There are sometimes I'm very, very intentional about what goes online about me. And there's sometimes like if someone posts something, I'm like, I don't, I try to be very conscious anyway about the things that are posted, because you want to put out the right image, about you out there. So also as you're posting, be very intentional about, putting out the right brand, right? Be intentional about putting out the right brand. So events, attend events. I know that introverts feel like events are draining. Honestly, I understand. So one thing you can do is attend professional events, and at the same time there should be a balance. People flow better for professional events. People are like, they speak about work, or maybe had like a chit chat about other things. But then for friendly events, people are like, oh, they're everywhere. They speak about different things. Like of recent, like I had like what's it called, like a very interesting paintballing experience with people. And then whenever I see those people, because we bonded in a different way outside of of being professional, it's just easy to say, oh, hi, how are you? And all of that. Like we see ourselves eventually, we're like, okay, this stuff came up. Are you interested in this? And that's how you're building the network, right? So I know that for so many people, they're like, especially when I was in school, I was so head on, oh, I just wanted to focus on my books for all of my last week of what's it called, final year last week, like I think they call it final year week. I didn't attend anything. No sign out, no Jersey Day, no cultural day. And now that I look back, I keep asking myself, why didn't I? Why didn't I? So like, enjoy that experience. Also use opportunities to meet people. Very, very important. Another thing is planning. Like this cannot be overemphasized. I'm sure that many of us have heard about planning. And I know that when people hear about planning, they feel like it's one major thing. Let me just tell you, it can be as simple as, sending a WhatsApp message to yourself. Send a WhatsApp message to yourself and tell yourself, okay, I have this project that I want to do. I have this skill I want to do. For my business, I want to make 1 million. How do I do it? It will surprise you to say, okay, maybe I'm making, for example, t-shirts. I make t-shirts and I want to sell one t-shirt for 3,000 naira. How many shares do I have to sell to make 3,000 naira? How much would the cost be? This is the cost. Okay, so if I say, for example, okay, if I make like, or let me just reduce the price. I say, okay, 500,000, and I say, okay, one shirt will be, or let's just say it's sorry, like a man's wear. Maybe like the buban, the trouser would be 50,000 naira. Okay, 50,000 times 10, that's 500,000. Oh, but the cost would be 200,000 to make this 10 pieces of, top and trouser. That means that, I should be able to, if I want to make a profit of 500,000, maybe I should, increase the price or try to reduce the cost. So those things like that is as simple as that. Just write things to yourself. Keep writing down. Very, very important. So try to plan. Another thing again I say is you need to treat your goals as projects. Treat your goals as projects. Do not be afraid to go on Excel. It's not hard. Trust me. Go on Excel. Okay, if you have your eyes on a particular grant, or you have your eyes on a particular project, you say, I want to be like Grace. Okay, I want this type of internship in a global and financial organization. Okay, now what exact point in time do these organizations create or open up opportunities? Like, when do they, employ people, right? Oh, is in August. Oh, I noticed that this particular firm, this particular four firms, they employ from Africa. They have special programs from Africa. Oh, that's great. So this one opens in August, this one opens in June, this one opens in October, this one opens in December. If you have your tracker, you'll be able to plan better. If you put it on Google Calendar, you'll be able to plan everything better, because even if you feel like you can forget, you have your Google Calendar to tell you, prepare for this. By this deadline, apply for this. Very helpful. By this time, reach out to someone that can help you to review your CV. Reach out to this person that can help you to review your cover letter. They are very important. Like I said before, what I thought was hard work 10 years ago is actually times 10 of what hard work is now. So yes, and that's just me giving an estimate. So it's very important to be intentional about all of these things. So if you're an entrepreneur, another thing that's important for you is funding, right? So there are different types of funding: seed funding, angel investors, grants, but don't let me bore you all of these things. It's very important to be able to, fund, right? Whatever it is you are producing. And I think one way to actually start, and some people are just like against this, but then you can start with your own savings. You can save for, I'm not saying you should use all of your savings. You need to protect yourself. You need to be wise about the way you spend. But at the same time, like, some portion that you have set aside for, okay, for this business, okay, let's give this a try, because you want to be sure that you have tested your model and that it works. You want to be sure that whenever you go to an investor, for example, maybe Tony Elumelu Foundation, right, for their grants and all, you want to be sure that you are going to present a tested model, right? So this are a tested and a working model is very important. So like, you go to them and tell them, this is what I want to do, but I've tested it with your savings. Many investors are very reluctant when they see that, okay, you don't have results, you've never sold this thing before, except you have like a very good idea that they believe in, and that means that you should able to sell that idea very well. So these are important. Another thing again I keep saying is value addition. Be excellent. All of these things matter. The way you appear, the way your products are, everything needs to be excellent, because whatever it is I notice is excellent, I will go back to you. Whatever it is that I pay for, I want excellence for it. So these things are very important. Like, even in the way you approach people, you speak to people. This, do not take anything like I said, take everything as a project. Take everything as a project. See everything as an opportunity to the next level. Very, very important. Another thing again is visibility. I'm always very key on visibility. So advertising is key, sales is key, marketing is key. And like I said before, branding and referrals are very important. And as a person, I would, apart from selling your business or advertising your business, I would say this, that even as a person, you definitely can advertise yourself and, sell yourself to people. You're selling your skill, right? Selling your skill, I mean. So you go to people, or this is how you speak to them, and this is how you there's a way you make them feel honored and appreciated. That way they are willing to give you a year next time that you come back. So things like that are very, very important. And I feel like all of this will help, in getting global opportunities. So most importantly, take note of LinkedIn, right? Try to use LinkedIn as much as possible. Always develop your skills, share your wins with people. Very, very important. Keep a tracker of all of the opportunities you are interested in. Try to read about these types of funding, follow up with grant opportunities. There's some people who are like, okay, I'm not interested in entrepreneurship. Not sure about corporate. I don't really know what I want to do now. There are different societies in school that can help you to explore and to understand what you really want. So I know that finance societies are all over universities. There are also tech societies that teach students how to program across universities. There is also Wikipedia as well that helps people. I know someone very much who still till now after university, gets grants from Wikipedia to run projects in Nigeria. So you can also be that person, that kind of person that that through Wikipedia has been funded to, other countries, to be able to, develop his skills and all of that. So things like that, you need to go online. It actually takes research. Go online, um, check, you know, ask for, type anything you want to type: competitions, scholarships, grants, aid for Africa. What is the major problem affecting Africa? How can I solve it? Volunteering opportunities, paid volunteering opportunities. Those kind of things are very helpful. Now, I'll leave us with this, which is also by Tony Elumelu. And it says there is no limit to what human beings can achieve when we set our minds to attaining goals or meeting a standard. Now, I'm going to pause there. Before now, there was nothing like aeroplanes, but now aeroplanes seems to be like a norm, right? Before now, there was a world outside of the earth, but actually there's a world outside of the earth, right? And now what are we thinking of? No, people like Elon Musk are thinking, you know what? We think that human beings can survive in Mars because Mars is the sister of the earth. And we think that people can now begin to travel from planet to planet. Trust me, there is no limit to what people can actually attain when they have a goal. If you set your mind to it, then you're able to achieve it. So there are different people that we've heard of their stories. Oh, I started in university. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was not born with a silver spoon. But then when they share their stories, you see that they're able to get to this particular stage. And I also want to say this: life, I know many people see life as a competition, but honestly, you're competing with yourself. So ensure that you're always a better version of yourself, because it's important for every level that you unlock. So to achieve and maintain success, we must always continue to push the boundaries of physical and mental endurance. It takes a lot of mental endurance, it takes a lot of physical endurance to be able to, achieve or break through the boundaries, break through the glass ceilings that you've always wanted to, right? Yeah, so I leave us with that. Thank you so much for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So I'm going to ask Miss Grace some question. And yes, so the first question I want to ask more is, what inspired you to focus on global opportunities even while you were still a student?
Thank you very much, Marvelous. I think I knew there was more, basically. I knew there was more out there. I knew that it was possible, and I saw that people that achieve what I thought was, well, maybe not what I thought was impossible, but what I never ever saw, right? So I saw people achieve it, and I just knew that there was more. I was just like, you know what, I'm really tired of, people, especially like, my experience then, like, going through the same process, like you work here for multiple years. Like I said, that I'm also still growing, right? Um, and I just thought that there was definitely more. There has to be more. There should be, more exposure, right? And I just aim for that. I just aim for more exposure, really.
Okay, ma. Thank you so much for the response. Okay, um, please, I'm calling. So another question I have for you here is, what are the most common challenges African students face when seeking global opportunities, and what advice will you give to them in overcoming those challenges?
Okay. So I think imposter syndrome is one of it, right? Sometimes African students feel like they're not good enough. That's not true. That is not true. If you're able to develop your skill, then you can actually be, you know, you can actually qualify for those global opportunities, right? So developing your skill is very important. Another thing again, I feel like the challenges they face, and even when I face this, like normal basics, right, which is like lights, and all of that. I remember when I was doing my internship was tough, was very tough, because I had to wake up, fetch water. Imagine going through, my internship was very intense. So I will wake up, fetch water. I had to be running around the hostel for light, things like that. So that actually is also like, I feel like one of the challenges that African students face. Um, yeah. So another thing I would have said is like, the type of what's it called, like the level of education that one gets. But I feel like that can be covered for when you study by studying personally. So if you know that you want to, go into these global organizations or get global opportunities, then you must be able to speak the language that the people who are in those organizations speak. And by language, it still boils down to the skill and the knowledge, right? So if you know that you want to work in places like Wall Street and you're aiming for an organization like Wall Street, sorry, Wall Street is in New York, is like the the most on that street you have like a lot of global financial firms on that street. So it can be likened to Silicon Valley, but Silicon Valley is in where's Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley is, I think, in US. Yes, Silicon Valley is in US, and also it's focused on tech companies as well. So those kind of things, you want to, go to such organizations, you want to be sure that that you're able to speak their language whenever you meet someone from that place, or you want to be able to speak well, efficiently, knowledgeably, those kind of things. So what would you do? You can begin to read the resources that they read as well. So it's called, people tag this as a type of skill. Say you have to be commercially aware, right? If you know that this particular person in Wall Street reads, that works in Wall Street, reads the Wall Street Oasis. That's like a news platform or like a knowledge platform kind of. They give you a lot of, like, it's they give you a lot of information on finance, so you can begin to read that. In that way, when you're reading that, you're able to speak their language. So things like that, really. People read Financial Times. So instead of limiting yourself to just like the local news sources, you can begin to read more of global news sources, right? If you know people in finance, they use a lot of Bloomberg. Okay, can I read the Bloomberg news? Can I read the reports? If you know, okay, I want to work at the World Bank, can I begin to read reports that the World Bank has published? If you know that you want to read is to work in African Development Bank, can I begin to read the reports that they have published and begin to network with people like that? So ability to speak people's language, that means you have to speak on their level, is also like very important. I feel like a lot of people don't really, like African students just feel like, oh, we don't have this, we're limited to this, but you're no longer limited to this. As long as you have a phone, you have a laptop, and you have the internet, you can access all of these things for free. So
Wow, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to pick some questions. Okay. Ms. Joy asked, how can African students entrepreneur overcome the challenges of location and time zone to tap into global opportunities?
I think you might want to give more context to this question. because I don't want to like put some form of or assume some form of context to it, because if I'm given the opportunity to assume, I would say, okay, maybe you got like a maybe like a job role, and you are maybe working, if you're working in the UK, that's fine, or if the company is in the UK, that's fine, because if you're in Nigeria, it's either one hour ahead or the same time zone, the same time. But if it's the US, there might be some challenge. I just feel that if that's the situation, then you just need to work around it, right? It's okay. One thing that these companies, especially like foreign companies, do is they have some form of interest, like they have interest actually in the employee, right? And they want to understand what works best for you, right? So you can communicate, this is the time zone, and this is my current situation, can I work within these hours, you know can I do this as a project where like you tell me everything to do and I'm able to deliver at this point in time, and then when you come in the following morning you're able to meet this. So things like that, or maybe we have like 4 hours to communicate there in the US. So that's very important. I hope I'm able to answer the question, because I feel like I need more context if you can. Okay, yes. Okay, so you said in terms of collaboration and connecting with mentors and peers. Oh, that's fine. I think that's fine. I think, for example, if it's going to be a mentor, then that means you have to, reshuffle your, like, work with the person's time, right? You have to work with the person's time. So, if the mentor is, say in the US, and the person is 6 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours away, depending, you can. If the person gives you a time, you try to work with that time. Just try to work with that time. If it's your peer, um, you can just negotiate the time as well, depending on what the relationship is. But I think it's, if you know you want value from someone, you have to bend, basically, like try to reshuffle and try to, just be able to meet up with that person's time. Yeah, I don't really see that as a problem, really. And then if you feel like, okay, this mentor, this time the person has speak, I will be in class, it's, feel free to communicate that, oh, I really I'm going to be in class by this time, and then can we schedule for this time, you get. So it's good to give another time, right? Can we schedule for 5 p.m. on Friday, can we schedule for 5 p.m. on Saturday? That's also very important. Yeah.
Okay. So the second question, the next question, yeah, not second. Um, from Marvelous David. So he's asking, if someone wants to start a new business but does not know how to go about it, what advice will you give to that fellow?
Hmm. You want to start a new business, I think you have to create a business plan first. That is important, and that will come with a lot of research too. So if you know, you, for example, you want to do logistics, right? What companies are currently doing logistics? Can I take a, maybe like a course, or read some maybe like research papers on logistics? How does it, how is it done? What are the core areas? How can I define my market, right? I might not start a logistic, like my logistic business, if I say, oh, it's for everybody, then I do not have a defined market. If I say, okay, I want to start from Lagos, because Lagos, a lot of people, like Lagos people have, like, let's just like the financial state of Lagos is better than some, like most of states in Nigeria, then I can start that, okay. Or do I have a target to start in another country? How do I go about that? So you define your market, do a lot of research on how the logistic business works. Think about, you can hire someone that's in finance, or read, right? Or read about like the financial, like like finance, try to understand how it works. What level do I have to, like, can I make a projection, they call it a projection, by what particular month do I want to start making profits, for me to make this profit, how much should my services be? So you just need to start with your business model, which is important, which is what you would present to people, even like a family and friends. So I have this business, so this is what I want to do. Some people are very professional, especially their family and friends, and like they want to see, what you want to do, what your like your profit will be in some years, what your design is like, right? What your business design is like. And that's really because that would help. It's different, for example, and even yourself, if you have maybe like this person A say, oh, I want this design. No, sorry, I have this idea and I want to start the business now. Okay, how much are you going to make in a month? I don't know. How much are you going to make in 2 months? I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. And there's another person that says, oh, hello, I have this business idea. I've been able to draft this. These are people I work with. These are my partners. I've spoken with them. This is what it will cost me to start this. This is the profit that I will make in 6 months. By the 6 months I would have, they call it break even, which is that your revenue is now matching your what's it called, like the cost. So by this time I've I have everything fine in 6 months, in a year. I've made this total amount of money. All I need from you is please give me a 1 million naira. Once I start with this 1 million naira, I'll be able to give you 10% profit, or let's just say I'll give you like 3% profit or on this. Who would you rather give your business, your money to? You give it to the second person. So you need to work on that business model. It works every time, because even when you meet with professional investors, they ask you, can we see? You don't go to angel investors or people who, like, the seed funding, like investors and all of that, and tell them that, okay, that I have an idea, let's see how it goes, give me your money. Nah, you don't do that. So it's best for you to, I think the first thing you need to do is to develop that business model. You need to plan towards it. There was someone I know of who said that, he had his own business model. The person is in Loring, makes I don't know if it's still in Loring, but he had a business idea, which is to make creams for people, which later on I think started making for babies as well. And then he applied for a Tony Elumelu Foundation. He said he applied just few minutes before the deadline. He already had his own business model ready, planned, and he got it. So if you're able to do that research, you are fine. You're able to speak about what you really want to do, and it's more convincing to investors.
Okay, thank you, Ma, for the response. Marvelous, I hope you understand. Please kindly indicate in the chat section. Ma, another question we have here by Rebecca. In terms of organization, okay, in terms of organization, is there any organization for graduates that wasn't aware of this organization? Okay, maybe she's asking. Rebecca, can you please rephrase your question? I don't want to assume also. Okay, why should we be doing that? I have one question here that is very important for that I would love you to address, ma'am. So, what advice will you give to a student who are hesitant about pursuing global opportunities, maybe due to one fear or the other, so they prefer to remain local or to stay, within their native. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I think the person also needs to give more context. Like just expatiate, let us know. Is it because are you scared, or do you feel like you're not qualified enough? Things like that. Like I said, in terms of being qualified, just need to develop your skills and grow your knowledge. In terms of fear, like why you holding back majorly, like they are young. People are like, yeah, young, take risk, right? Most time people that take risks that are out there that doing well. So like try as much as possible to take risk. Sometimes I just tell myself like, let's even try, let's see where we will get to. Do you understand? Like you want to tell yourself that let's try. People are taking this course. Let me to try. Let me, get to this particular stuff. Especially if, but it has to be defined. Not everything. No, do not do everything every other people do. Do you understand? So you don't want to be in tech, finance, and doing project management and all of that. People are like that, but you just define what you want. So yeah, so just push yourself. Like if you are too um if you are too risk averse, you might not really get to that particular point that you really dream of, right? So try to take the risk. There's nothing you lose. You're just going to stay at home and apply for these opportunities, right? So you're not losing anything really. So stay at home, apply for the opportunities, see how it goes. If they say no, fine, no problem. And some companies are really good. They give you a feedback, they tell you the reason why. Work on those feedback and then try again for another company, right? There are people that have applied for multiple organizations and then they got feedback from one or they got yes from one. Some people say, oh, I applied for 4 banks and I got yes from only one bank. Some people are like, oh, I've heard someone who said, and let me even tell you, this is really possible. Someone who applied for 4 investment banks and no, 3 investment banks, one close to fintech bank kind of, not bank but fintech company kind of, and then it got all of the 4 offers from global organizations and the person is University of Ilorin. Yes, University of Ilorin. So there's nothing stopping you. If you have self-doubts or all of that, say, look, I always pray about these things, right? So just break free from them. That's what I would say. Like, you can use what's it called, like, talk to yourself, tell yourself you're worthy, you can do these things, right? Nothing should hold you back, and then just apply basically. Like I say, if you don't apply, you lose 100% opportunities you don't put your feet forward for. So if you don't apply, companies might not see you. There are other people that they head hunt for them, but that's because they develop their skills over time, right? And they have built visibility over time. So it's important for you to put yourself out there, right? So do not hold back, basically. Just put yourself out there and try as much as possible to get in.
Okay, Ma, thank you so much. Okay. Sorry, we would love to round up now, but I would attend to this question. So aside from these two questions I have here in the chat box, we would not entertain any further question. Thank you. So, okay. It says, what I mean is that from Rebecca, what I mean is there organizations for an entrepreneur that is no longer in school?
Uh, so I, re- I, s- mhm. So that word entrepreneur was a bit confusing to me because if you say for career, there are a lot of organizations, right? So I'm not sure if you're using the word entrepreneur if because of the theme of this event or yeah. So because what I would think an entrepreneur is someone who is starting a firm, right? Someone is starting a firm, someone who wants to like who is starting a firm who's already working on developing a particular organization. That's what I would think an entrepreneur is. Those people are the people that actually start the organization. But then if you mean that are there opportunities for graduates in corporates, so corporates are like the firms, right? You talk about consulting firms, like for example, think about McKinsey, Bain and Company, Boston Consulting Group. Those are, you talk about KPMG, PwC, auditing firms. You talk about investment banking firms. Those kind of, opportunities, if that's what you mean, then yes, the opportunities for graduates as well, right? It depends on the routes that you take. It depends on the route that you take. Some people go for masters and then they apply for the internships through that while studying masters. Some people apply for, to join the companies directly. So things like that actually happen. And sometimes, like I've heard of a recent, some of these companies add ons for people as well. So yes, there are opportunities.
Okay, Ma, thank you. So, Rebecca, I hope you have an understanding now. The last question here. So, this person wants to go into data analysis, but okay, she made her research and the fee for the classes are too high. She can't afford it. So, she's asking if there are substitutes or other things that she can do to acquire that skill since she can afford. for the ones that she has been seeing?
So this is very simple. I'm so glad you asked. And I'm going to just say this is what I just did now. And I'm going to send it to you on this chat. I only tapped on Google free data analysis courses that you can explore. So you can explore, once you explore, right, just go on Google, just type free data analysis courses. You will see Coursera is free. You will see you know, some courses on IBM. I think those are also free as well. There's also Data Camp as well. Data Camp offers free courses as well. Corporate Finance Institute, they might not, I think they started collecting money. Then so you see different EDX, data analysis courses on EDX is free, data courses on Udemy is free. So these are opportunities that are very, they are free. You don't need to what's it called, to look for, or to pay for this what's it called, like to go for a paid course. There are a lot of opportunities that are actually free.
Oh, thank you so much, ma. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I will be calling the CEO, Mr. Ayobami Oluwatoyin, to share some few things with us. Yeah. So, Mr. Ayobami, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. Good evening.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Let's have you,
Marvelous.
sir.
Yes, thank you so much. And a very big thank you to Grace. Thank you so much for tonight. Even myself, I learned a lot from the session. Please, can we appreciate Grace? Let's give her a big hand. Thank you so much, Miss Grace Abikoye. We are really grateful for the opportunities to host you. I know you are really busy, and it's such an honor to have you in our midst and to really share so much to us. I was in between a lot of things, but I had to focus and make sure that I also benefit from this particular session. And trust me, I have quite a number of things penned down already to start doing immediately after this session. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. May God bless you in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. And yes, and to every one of us that were present in this session, I believe that uh, sorry, it's not about what you've heard, it's how much you can put into use. Like they would say, probably just 20% of what you've heard now is going to be retained. You need to put your pen to paper and start highlighting some of the things that you need to. Some of you have to stay up this night to start searching, start surfing on the internet. And one thing that I can capture from what she has said is that a lot of African youth, we are mentally lazy, and that's it. So we don't want to push beyond that boundary. So uh, we can go some length for entertainment, we can go some length for pleasure. When it's about accumulating knowledge, building ourselves personally, we really can't do too much of that. You understand? And that's one of our issues. So I don't want that to be a problem. You don't have mental barrier. You can do as much as you can. Please, let's try as much as possible to put all our effort into it and start now. And I believe as she was speaking, different angle is where different people are getting it from. And I know that you'll pick that which is yours and you start using it. Even me as a business owner, some of the things that I need to start doing in my business, I got it from what she has said. And trust me, I don't know where that sleep will come from until I'm done with what I need to do tonight because I can't carry it over to tomorrow. So thank you so much for that. Um, we appreciate you and we hope to host you one more time. Um, Even more and even physically very soon. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please, can we appreciate Ms. Grace one more time, please? Let's do that. If you benefited from a session, please kindly just give a big hand. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you for
you
having
so
me.
much. All right. Yeah. So, then lastly, we understand that for every one of us on the call, I believe some of us are currently with Start at the moment, and some are not. Let me just introduce what We Start is and what we do. So, with Start Academy, we're here basically to train entrepreneurs, the next level of entrepreneurs, the next generation of entrepreneurs that are going to emerge from Africa. That is what we want to. That is what we've dedicated our life into. So everything that cut across training, cut across mentorship, cut across getting you coached, getting you mentored, getting funding for you, putting you side by side your dream and walking you down to that destination of being a successful global business owner. That's what we exist for. And we have a student community, and that is where we are hosting this particular program. So we encourage every one of you that have not joined. We're going to be having another session next week, and trust me, that session is particularly about finance, and I'm sure it's going to be really explosive to everyone that is going to join. It's about finance, so it's the ABC of financial management for entrepreneur, and we're going to go through everything about finance. And the week after, we're going to be having another session. So it's going to be really impactful, and there are free sessions. There are things that you can jump on, and it can be a blessing to you. So uh, it's me calling you to join the community. It's a free community, and you being part of the community, you get resources, you get value, you get things that can change your life and can take your eyes from the disadvantages, from the disabilities that currently surrounding the country, and put your eyes on that advantage that are available that a few people are tapping into simply because they don't know, or some of them they don't even have a strong community to push them to access it. So that is why we established with that. And one important event that we're having soon, starting from the month of September, is we're having hangout, our first physical hangout. It's a meetup across several universities of several institutions, and we've reviewed the date for University of Abuja. We've reviewed the date for Ladokia Kintola University, that's Lautech in Ogbomoso. So if you know people in those region, tell them to come out and meet us on those days. So it's going to be a 2 hours gathering of student entrepreneurs. So we're just going to gather together, discuss about business, discuss how we can move things forward, how we can balance our academics together with our business aspirations. How we can foster a community of entrepreneurs. It can be lonely in those kind of places where it looks like you are the only one trying to do more, but now you have a community that can support you, and it looks like you're not only walking on this road. You have a support from people, you have a support from your colleague, and also people that can mentor you and can put you on the right track, even to be able to get financial support from global organizations. So we're going to be having that hangout, and it's going to be really impactful. I believe if you're on the platform, you'll have gotten the link, and if you're not, just join tonight so that you get the link to the WhatsApp group. Then you get the update from there, and you get to attend the one that is closer to you. And most importantly, you get to connect and network with people of high network like you, and we get to do more and get to push our businesses into the next level. Thank you so much.